I'd like to, at this time, call to order the special council meeting, which has been appropriately noticed and agendaed for November 14th at approximately 9 o'clock this morning. Clerk, could I ask for a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bynum?
Here.
Councilmember Hooser?
Present.
Councilmember Kagawa?
Present.
Councilmember Raposo? Here. Councilmember Yukimura?
Here.
Council Chair Fafaro?
Present.
6 present.
Model, thank you. I would like to also ask that I could get a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Raposo, a second by Yukimura. Any discussion, members? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. For the public, I have a couple housekeeping notices that I'd like to share with you. First of all, the agenda item is a single item today. And if you're planning to testify, I would encourage you to have signed up for your 3-minute period. I'm going to make several reminders through the morning, and I'm only taking sign-ups until 10:30, okay? So please make note of that. If you're planning to speak, we have 1.5 hours, and we have one item on the agenda. Also, I want to make sure we all understand that the item on the table is a motion or an agenda item for a possible motion to override the mayor's veto, which would need an affirmative vote of this council of 5 members. And that's pursuant to Chapter 4.03 of the Kauai County Charter. Or, if we sustain the mayor's veto is sustained, it's also because the supermajority of votes were not obtained. That is what today's agenda item is. For those in the audience and those inside, please make a motion or move to sign up accordingly for today's agenda if you wish to give testimony. I would also like to remind everybody, I'd like to adhere to the appropriate protocol and rules of the council, especially in this building that is now serving our county for 100 years. And it is important that amongst all of us, we show kokua and respect. It is extremely important in our community. I have been watching a number of things that do concern me about living aloha and the values that we have in our community. And this particular agenda item is about those values, and I don't want any of us to get beyond any challenges with one another. That is not pono in our island home. So on that note, have we read the item?
Chair, we have a public comment period.
Okay. This is the public comment period, which we are going to start first on this portion of our agenda. And I would ask the clerk first to acknowledge the first 6 speakers that signed up for 3 minutes, where there'll be no Q&A from the members. Go right ahead.
The first speaker is Mark Willman, followed by John Aana.
Mark, followed by John. Go ahead.
Just want to let you know I've been praying that the Spirit of Jesus Christ would be over you guys, give you wisdom, courage, and protection.
Thank you for that, John, but you need to introduce yourself.
My name is Mark Willman. I'm a registered voter from Elieli. I'm here to represent myself and Aloha Kauai County Council. Mahalo for the opportunity to give my testimony. I'm here to ask you to please sustain the veto. And I have petitions here with over hundreds of names in support of sustaining that veto. I support the mayor because I believe he is correct as the leader of the county, of the council, to show us how to work together and not fight against each other. It is also his duty to guide the council away from doing something you will regret. If the council overrides the veto, resulting in an expensive lawsuit, You, the members of the council, will be responsible, not the mayor. Let's get a game plan that's successful from the start and not begin with a program with known problems from the start. Let's work together, ensure a safe community and a healthy business environment. Voluntary measures can, do, and will work. Please vote to sustain the mayor's veto. The mayor's veto is giving you a free out. Your own attorneys, now public opinion, has given you the opportunity and support to sustain the veto. Do not align yourself with extremists who have hijacked the environmental and organic movement, who have made death threats to the mayor, and who have no tolerance for moderation. Another reason to sustain the veto is that the bill should be voided due to a conflict of interest of one of the bill's authors. The bill is introduced by Gary Hoosier, who I believe has a conflict of interest. He's on the board of the Hawaii Organic Farmers Association. The bill has tried to point attention that conventional food production is not safe, which I believe is not true. If the bill is successful, people would be afraid to buy conventional food and therefore buy organic. Because of the glaring conflict of the interest, the Ethics Committee should investigate Hoosier and declare the bill invalid. Because of what I've heard at these testimonies, I'm more afraid to buy organic because this industry is not regulated like conventional food, which conventional food has been proven to be safe. The bill attempts to turn our attention away from organic foods, which are dangerous. More people have died or suffered sickness from organic food worldwide than conventional food. And I cite three items. June 3rd of 2013, frozen berries sold at Costco were linked to 30 cases of hepatitis A, and that was from Townsend Farms organic antioxidant blend of frozen berries. A second item is a multi-state outbreak of Shiga toxin producing E. coli. That was linked to organic spinach and a spring mix blend. And then third one in 2011 is a multi-state outbreak of human salmonella, and that was from spinach from Tiny Greens Organic Farm. If it's disclosure that the people want, then let's make this bill fair. They should ask for the following disclosure. What are the organic pesticides that are being used on the island? Where, how much, and what food are being sold directly to consumers at elevated prices? What are the price increases associated with organics and why?
Thank you. That's your 3 minutes. Can you summarize?
Thank you very much. In summary, I would just like to ask the council members to take the lead on this issue, restore our trust in you that you are equitable and not discriminatory against corporations. Please sustain the veto. Restore the damage this bill has taken on all of us. Drop it like you dropped all the other elements of the bill. Aloha and thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is
Next
John.
speaker is John Aana, followed by Brian Ueno.
Morning, John.
Good morning, council members. My name is John Aana. I'm a retired fire captain with the county of Kauai. I'm also a taro farmer from the west side. And I'm here today to remind you folks how really important this is to the west side people, and especially the people in Waimea. You know, I have a list of people. I don't know, can I give this to you guys?
Our staff can take it from you, John.
These are all the people on the lawsuit against Pioneer. These are all Waimea people who all live in ground zero. You know, we live in ground zero. The reason why this lawsuit was filed was because of inaction. Back in 2000, Clayton Kubo started a petition that was signed by a lot of Waimea residents. He presented it to Pioneer, and they said, well, okay, we're going to do this, and this to help mitigate the problem. The next 10 years, they did nothing. You know, and it's this inaction by Pioneer and by the government officials. Nobody did anything for 10 years. So it's out of frustration that this lawsuit was filed, you know. And still, we're living in the same conditions every day. You know, and you don't realize what it is to be inundated by dust every day. And who knows what is in the dust, you know? And so, the thing is, this is like over, and I'm not sure this list, I think there were more people that were added, but this was the original list. So I think it's more close to 200 people in there right now. But anyway, now here we are almost 15 years later, and still nothing was done. I think the only thing that was done was the grading violations the county issued to those guys. Okay? So right now, if you guys are thinking about letting the state take over the problem. You know what? The state did nothing, and their answer to this is voluntary. Voluntary disclosure. We need something done. I mean, enough is enough. It's been long enough. We need something done now. And this bill is not the cure-all, it's not the end-all, but it's the start. To head us in the right direction. You guys, this island is like a canoe. You guys are the navigators. You guys, by passing the bill the last time, you changed our course a little bit, start heading us in the right direction. We want to go to the land of healthy children, clean land, clean water. That's where we want to go. You guys set us in that direction, but the captain said, you know what, the waters are too rough. We don't want to go that route, because too rough are the waters. But you know what?
3 minutes.
You guys, as the navigators, need to head us back in the right direction. Please do something for, because health and safety should come first over any other economic reason. Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Brian Ueno, followed by Teresa Tico.
Hello. My name is Brian Ueno. I was born and raised in Waimea. I attended, played sports out, and graduated from Waimea High School. And I currently reside in Waimea. This issue for me is pretty emotional because a lot of the stuff that's happening to my house, I never knew about until this lawsuit came about. Then I started finding out about where the dust came from and why certain things are happening in my yard. And just to give you reference, my residence is directly across the street of Waimea High School. So whatever affects me affects the school. I've been working in the EMS for over 30 years. I started out as a crash firefighter, EMT out at the base, and now I'm working out in Waimea serving my communities with 911 ambulance. I enjoy all the outdoor stuff, hunting, fishing, and right now I'm kind of into this aquaponics, gardening and stuff. I also coached at Waimea High School for over 25 years, so I've seen a lot of kids come and go. I was asked to deliver this testimony on behalf of 80 plus first responders like myself, of which we signed a petition, and I believe Councilmember Kagawa received the petition. And our concerns are about disclosure. That when we were trained to go into a situation, we don't go in there blindfolded. We always know what chemicals are stored where. So when we go in there, we kind of know what to expect if there's an emergency in that situation. In this case, we have no idea what is being stored or used in that area. So we don't our job is not the safest one in the world, and we don't want to put ourselves in harm's risk any more than we have to. So I'm asking that the county uphold this bill for disclosure and to include buffer zones around the schools and homes. And I felt that this is not only my duty, but my responsibility as a community member to come forward today, because typically I'm not the type of guy who steps up and makes this kind of testimony. So I appreciate that if you can find it in your heart to uphold this stuff for not only the community members, but for us that work out in the EMS field every day. Thank you.
3
Thank you very
minutes.
much. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Teresa Tico, followed by Paul Ashitoff.
Good morning, council members, and thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of a very important measure that our future generations will thank us for. My name is Teresa Tico. I've been an attorney on this island for 36 years, representing individuals, families, community organizations. I've also served our legal community as a grand jury counsel and per diem judge in the Fifth Circuit Family and District Court case in district courts here on this island. My commitment has always been to help make Kauai a healthier and safer place for our future generations. I'm here today to testify and assure you that should the ordinance be challenged in court, that my associate attorney, Peter Shea of the Center of Human Rights and Constitutional Law, Mr. Shea and I stand ready, willing, and able to represent and defend the county on a pro bono basis, should this measure be challenged. That means that we will represent and defend this ordinance for free. We will not charge legal fees to the county. Now, I've known Mr. Shea for over 40 years. I can attest to his good character and his outstanding reputation in the legal community on a national level. Mr. Shea has been directing this center for many, many years. He's represented members of Congress. He has successfully initiated many, many class actions in the human rights arena. And, in fact, I have brought him in on many cases in Hawaii on a pro hoc vice basis. I know some of you have showed some concern about his ability to represent the county, being a California attorney, but we do have a procedure in law, pro hoc vice, where we can bring in attorneys from out of state who have more knowledge and more experience than we might have. And this is a very helpful process to bring these experienced and knowledgeable attorneys into our cases. I'd just like to spend a moment telling you about one case where I brought Mr. Shea into one of my cases, pro hoc vice, and that was a case against the State of Hawaii Department of Health, discrimination case. We successfully represented our client and obtained a significant monetary award, but that was not enough for Mr. Shea. Mr. Shea said it was not enough to just receive money in this case. We needed to remedy the damage that had been done by revising the policies and procedures of the Department of Health. And he took it a step further. Most attorneys I know would take the money and run, not Mr. Shea. He said, we will collaborate with the state of Hawaii and work with them to rewrite their rules and ensure that the damage that was inflicted on our client will never happen again. And that is the type of attorney he is. Now, we understand that the mayor has vetoed the bill based on his assumption that the
3 minutes.
ordinance would preempt.
Go ahead, summarize, please.
All right. In summary, Mr. Shea, myself, and other experienced litigators believe that the ordinance will withstand legal scrutiny, and our future generations will thank us for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Paul Ashitoff, followed by Phyllis Miyake.
Aloha, Chair Furfaro, council members. My name is Paul Achitoff. I'm an attorney with Earth Justice in Honolulu, and I'm testifying in support of overriding the mayor's veto. I've now submitted 3 separate detailed legal analyses to the council supporting the legality of Bill 2491. Most recently this week, my testimony specifically responds to the legal issues that the mayor cited in his veto announcement, the Right to Farm Act, preemption issues, and the separation of powers issues. So I refer any of you that may be interested in the analysis to my written testimony, which you should have. Otherwise, I'm here to assure the council that I've read thoroughly the county attorney's analysis that was made public at the time of the veto. It's my firm belief that the council has been poorly served by being given a legal opinion that essentially amounts to the industry's legal arguments rather than a objective legal analysis, which is why it's been necessary for people like me and others to keep giving the council legal analyses. I already have clients who are ready, willing, and able to take the county's side in court to defend the bill if you override the veto and industry sues. I'm confident that the bill will withstand legal challenge, so there's no reason for your vote to reflect concern about industry's intimidation campaign. The people of Kauai, as you have heard, are begging you to help them. They need your help. The law allows you to help them. I urge you not to refuse them that help just because a well-heeled industry threatens to sue. So you can, and I urge you to, vote to override the mayor's veto with the confidence that the law is on the side of the bill and the people of Kauai. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Next speaker is Phyllis Miyake.
Is Phyllis the last speaker under Section E?
Yes, under the public comment period, she's the last speaker.
Thank you. Good morning, Phyllis.
Hello. I am of this Aina. 2010, the pain got worse. Vicodin wasn't able to take it away. And so my husband was taken to Honolulu, Queens, by my son. And there they found, in the back of the heart, the cancer clung onto one of the main arteries. 3rd stage cancer. They told us December is all I had left of my husband. I thought it was bad. And while nursing him, 3 months later, I went to Queens again for a biopsy, 2 biopsies. Mammogram here on Kauai was insufficient. Mastectomy on the left breast. 3 months later, my OBGYN said I needed to be tested again. Ovaries, cancer. While in there, they found the uterus cancer. So I got overhauled. They took everything. Prior to that, my 14-year-old testicle cancer. Oh, one more. My mother-in-law, 2 breast cancer. We lived at 4365 Menehune Road, Waimea. The bed we slept on, all this dust. The walls, all the dust on the walls. We breathed that. The water we drank was not of the pipe because it was not drinkable, and it's still not drinkable. So we brought in Menehune so we can drink. But you can only so much cook with that. This is my story. You want to see scars? It starts from under the arm to the middle of the chest. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame. This is my story, and I leave it with all of you.
That's
Okay,
the last speaker.
That was our last speaker for the 3-minute period under Section E. Okay, I'm going to go and extend public testimony at this time. And I would remind everybody that if you are wanting to testify, please sign up before 10:30 this morning. Mr. Bynum?
At what point are council members going to be allowed to make a statement?
After we take testimony.
After testimony. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So who is our first speaker?
Our first speaker is Stephanie Iona.
Good morning, Council Chair, Council members. My name is Stephanie Iona. I am born and raised in Hawaii. I'm a resident of Waimea, and I just would like to humbly ask you to sustain the mayor's veto. It's the right thing to do. And as far as this bill, and you hear all these different testimonies, I always feel, please forgive me, I need to look down because that I wanted to come here today with a humble heart for everybody who has an opinion, to respect that opinion. And I can tell you in the 64 years I've been on this earth, I'm very proud of who I am and my father and my mother. And I approach this facility today with all honor and respect, as I try to respect everyone. For the first time in my 64 years of life, I'm being told that I'm an angel of the devil. I hope my husband isn't hearing this. My father wouldn't be proud of me. I am a great-granddaughter of a Halemanu, island of Maui. My brother was the Olympic swimmer. He served our island well. My father was a decorated police officer who spent the last 6 years of his life in a facility because he was hit by an ambulance. And I watched him slowly die. And I understand cancer. Mother died, grandmother died. So nobody can tell me that I am not a Kekioka Aina and that I am an angel of the devil. I knew that I could enter heaven on earth, because I'll tell you, when I took care of every family member that I had who died, it was me at the age of 3rd grade that took care of my father. So how dare, because I used to tell everybody God himself was going to meet me at the pearly gate for what I did in my life. I've always tried to be a good person. There are people in this room that I've worked with and are honored to work with. And I understand the sadness of this island and the aloha that we all have for each other. And I like to look beyond all of that. But I ask you please to consider what is right and let the people do what is right. And truly to support the mayor and the governor. I would hate to see anyone having to spend more money in an area that it should not be. It belongs with the state and our governor. I said that from the beginning and I say it now. But I say it as everybody that's out there singing your songs, you're singing my life, my culture, that I am very proud of, because I am a child of my father, who was a police officer, William Smith, and my brother, Bill Smith, was an Olympic swimmer and was under Duka Hanamoku. So I say that with all love and aloha. And I need to leave. Thank you very much.
Speaker?
Next speaker is Sala Ta'ala.
Good morning, County Council. My name is Sala Ta'ala. Excuse me. And I'm from Waimea Valley, born and raised for 30 years. I'm here today to ask you to please overturn the veto of the mayor. This is such an important issue for all of us. You know, workers of the seed companies, our families in the valley, everyone on this island, we need to know. We have so many families out there that are sick, and doctors are chucking it up to nothing. They know why. Of course they know why. There are doctors. But we need to know why. We need to know, and the only answer to knowing is disclosure. We need to know what's being sprayed. We need to know how many times they spray. I have sick kids at home. I do have sick kids at home. My son comes home every other week, sent home from school because he has headaches or he has massive stomach aches, so bad that he falls asleep in class. And our pediatrician, he doesn't know what's going on. And I'm telling you, the only answer to this is disclosure. We need to know. Please do not be afraid to overturn this veto, because we are here, Kauai, Waimea, West Side, East Side, we're here supporting you on this. but I believe we do have a right to know what is making us sick. And this disclosure is the key. If not, we can tie all these things in, if this is what is found, or we can exclude the companies, but the thing is, we are gonna know what's going on. I am also a 4th generation taro farmer in the valley of Waimea. Pesticides being sprayed, coming down on our fields, we don't know what's contaminating our food source. We don't know what's contaminating our rivers. But we do know that the reefs are dying. The river is dying. We do know that much. And disclosure is the key to linking two and two together. So I humbly ask you to overturn this veto, because I believe our health is at risk. My children's health is at risk. I am tired of wondering why so many people have allergies, have asthma, have cancer, and nobody has the answer. This is our answer, a chance to know. Please overturn this veto. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Sylvia Wu, followed by Kaulana Poi.
Good morning, Council Chair and Council members. My name is Sylvia Wu. I'm from the San Francisco office of the Center for Food Safety, where I'm an environmental attorney working on the very same issues that are at the heart of this bill. The Center for Food Safety is a public interest nationwide organization with 360,000 members nationwide, including thousands of residents around the islands of Hawaii and hundreds right here in Kauai. So for the past 15 years, the center has been dedicated to protecting the environment and the people from toxic effects of pesticide use and the cultivation of genetically engineered crops. When necessary, we have gone to court to litigate over these very harms. We have also been a key architect behind numerous state and local legislative efforts to address these harms, from whether it's a bill aimed at protecting the harm of genetically modified crops, pesticide use, or simply increasing transparency about genetically engineered products. As you guys know very well, the very same intentions lie behind the bill that we're discussing here. Now, I have traveled here today to assure you in person the legality of this bill and the importance of its passage. We at the Center have looked at this bill, I myself have personally looked at this bill, before its inception and through its many amendments. Time and time again, we have stated and found that based on our expertise in this area, the bill is definitely in accordance with existing law, and there's nothing in it that is not within your authority. In our opinion, any legal challenge to this ordinance will fail, because there's absolutely nothing in the federal laws or Hawaii state laws or any voluntary agreements or measures that preempts this bill expressly or implicitly. And that is why the Center for Food Safety, along with Earth Justice, whom you heard from earlier this morning, are ready to take on this case on a pro bono basis, working on the county side for free, representing the residents of Kauai and our other allies here on this island. And we're confident that any legal challenge to this ordinance can and will be defeated. I want to finish by saying that, and you know all this bill is important. It will protect the residents here. You have heard from your people. I think Chairman Ferraro, you mentioned earlier that you guys have been, protecting the values of this county and this building for 100 years. A month ago, you made the right decision and passed this bill. Nothing has changed that will challenge its legality, and therefore, I urge you to vote to overturn the veto. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question for you.
Please.
Councilmember Yukimura, you have the floor.
Ms. Wu, thank you for being here. You've mentioned that there's nothing in the bill that would create problems in terms of federal preemption, but what about state preemption? Have you looked at that issue?
Yes, in our analysis, we looked at both federal and state preemption issues, and, it's our conclusion and that there's nothing in Hawaii's pesticide laws that talks to the types of measures that this bill discusses, and therefore there's nothing, and there's also no express preemption measure in the language of, Chapter 149A, and therefore there are no preemption issues from both the federal and state level.
So you don't think that there might be found to be a comprehensive system of regulation of pesticides?
No, I don't think so. I think that, in fact, based on, our legal analysis and the testimonies and legal briefs that were submitted by Earthjustice that you have before you, to the contrary, numerous courts have found similar state pesticide schemes to not preempt local measures to protect its residents.
But this will be a Hawaii Supreme Court decision based on Hawaii laws, right?
Yes, but we're looking at court precedents in other courts very similar to the language of the Hawaii pesticide laws, and therefore we think that it will survive muster in court.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Raposo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for coming all the way from
Of
San
course.
Francisco.
It's an honor.
We met you with some nice, cool weather. In your analysis you mentioned in testimony and looking at the bill, have you come across a situation where a medical professional had requested information from the companies pertaining to a patient and was refused?
No, I have not, but that is not to say that such incidences don't exist. I think the problem with looking at court cases is, of course, that many situations go on day by day that do not get reported in, that do not arise to the finality of a court opinion.
Yeah, well, I only ask you because I would suspect you folks have done a thorough analysis, and I didn't want to ask a mother of a sick child because they wouldn't know. My question is, because we hear a lot of complaints about they need disclosure, the doctors need disclosure, 911 people need disclosure, but has there been, and I've asked a few people, I've asked several people personally that I know, but I don't know of a situation where that has ever occurred, where the doctor or the hospital made an inquiry with because of the symptoms of an ill patient, made the inquiry based on the symptoms and was refused. That, I think, is the question.
Well, I'll respectfully say that, the mother of the sick child who has the sick child's interest at heart is probably the best person to ask that very same question. But also I will say that there's nothing that I know of that prevents the companies from refusing to offer that help, from refusing to, provide that information. It would be completely voluntary. And I can also say that based on my experience in my line of work, voluntary measures, unfortunately, with the industry that all of your residents are up against, it's simply insufficient. So.
Thank you.
We have no other questions for you. Thank you for your testimony.
Next speaker is Kaulana Poi, followed by Carol Warden.
Good morning, aloha. My name is Kaulana Poi, a resident of the West Side in Hanapepe up the Heights. And the reason why I'm here is because we really need to bring back aloha and respect. For both sides, whatever we're arguing about, whether, calling people names, we gotta stop that. But I respect each other, and that's why we're here. And with aloha and respect is why I'm for this bill and for the override, is because disclosure and buffer zones is respecting us as citizens and community members and residents of Kauai to know what is going on in our backyards and what is happening. And if there's nothing wrong, then right on, because I have friends that work for them. And I feel like they're being disrespectful by threatening them by losing their jobs if this bill passes. I don't see how disclosure or buffer zones will make them lose their jobs. And, aloha for our keikis. That, they've gotten sick. And we would like to make sure that it's not because of them. And that's just real simple. And showing aloha and respect for us. So that's all we're asking, really, is when it comes down to this. And then, with the threats of threatening their workers and then threatening our county that they're going to sue us. But hey, we got you guys back. We have the attorneys already here saying they'll do it for free. So you guys We passed the bill once. We know it's the right thing to do. We need to know what's happening out there to protect our aina and our keiki and all our natural resources. So it's pretty simple. The bill is simple, and I really don't know how it's going to affect him that much. And if the disclosure does, then maybe change their farming methods. I'm all here for the ag. You know, we should be providing food for our families and jobs. It's simple. So all I got to say, bring back the respect and aloha and have respect for us and our community. And thank you guys for doing what you guys doing, because you guys are in the hot seat and you guys have a big kuleana, but all our mana is behind you guys all the way. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Thank you, Kauai.
The next speaker is Carol Warden, followed by Carol Hart.
That was Carol Warden, followed by Carol Park.
Carol Hart.
All the Carols are together today. Good morning, County Council, and Chair Fafaro. I feel like I have to read this because my senior moments are coming closer and closer together. First, I would like to add my gratitude to all of you and for the West Siders for the time and effort that you've put into this bill and this issue, passing 2491 by an overwhelming 6-to-1 vote. I feel like I know each of you intimately from Channel 53 Access, and I must say I have never been so engrossed in county affairs before. It's the best reality show around. I noticed that Councilman Kagawa always mentions the good times in life he had in Waimea when he lived there. Well, Ross, it's not the same Waimea. The year you got out of Dodge, my husband and I bought a house there in 2003, and we didn't know anything about the seed companies. I lived a healthy, active life for 65 years on Oahu before retiring and moving in with my husband to Kauai in 1998. We lived in Kalaheo until September 2003, and after moving into our new home, I contracted pneumonia in 2006, which left me with serious heart issues while I watched my 5 Italian spruces, which were 8 foot high, systematically start to turn brown and die all at once. My uncle was a Lunawan when I was young, and we lived in Eva Plantation near the mill. I'm talking to Ross now because of the sugarcane companies. And we went into the fields when they were burning, bathed and swam in the icy clean flumes, ditches, and reservoirs. We knew it wasn't legal, but we did anyway. That led into the fields, and cut stalks of cane and peeled them right there with our teeth. The only thing we had to fear was getting caught in cane spiders, which, by the way, didn't have much respect for whatever pesticides that were supposed to be growing there. Can kids do that today? And I'm sure that yeah, Jay, I was born in TH too. My proposals for Waimea have been brought to the table, such as a sports complex, a walking and bike path like the East Side, etc. Have you all thought about this? We always think about what is good for business and the economy. When are we going to think about the people and the children? To have the above, one would have to breathe and not be sprayed by drift during competitive games. Waimea is named the talking town as tourists walk around the town and read the signs of its history. Well, soon we will have to change that sign to read Waimea the toxic town. Eventually, even the tourists won't want to come here. You get greedy, you end up with nothing. Who are these people that fight so hard to withhold from the present and future generations the kind of life they themselves enjoyed? It gets worse with every generation, and I applaud the County Council for being the good stewards that they are and leading us back, albeit slowly, to a healthier lifestyle. Sit down at a table to mediate sounds good in theory, but what have we to bargain with? It is a subject of health versus wealth. How can we compromise health for what they want? Well, when is enough enough? How do these agro companies wiggle their way into communities? Oh my goodness gracious, is it over already? Okay. Okay. In summary, I refuse to believe that the dust-borne pesticides from drift in the air are part of our, in the pyramid of our basic food group. However, sadly, it's probably indication that pesticides have already entered our food chain. So please, please, take leadership, take the helm like you did the first time. And if we are dedicated enough for the right reasons under your leadership, the seas may just part. Thank you all for your support during this whole thing. Thank you.
Carol, we have a question for you.
Yes.
Councilmember Yukimura.
Miss-
And, excuse me, now may I ask you if you could get your mic? Oh, Go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. Warden, thank you very much for coming, for both compelling and entertaining testimony. I just wanted to ask if you would submit your written testimony.
Well, how nice of you. Thank you. I will.
We didn't get to hear it all. So,
Okay, thank you. You may have it.
PC? No more? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, the next speaker is Carol Hart, followed by Bryce Boder.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Nice to see you all. My name is Carol Hart. I'm a resident of Keikaha. Lived out there for 22 years. I'm a healthcare practitioner, a business owner, and I want to thank you all for your diligence and for voting to pass this bill. I am testifying in favor of overriding the veto of Mayor Carvalho. My husband and I moved to Keikaha just before Aniki, and we were both very healthy people. We've been very active in the community, giving back a lot, and we do that because we are inspired by the community. I love the West Side. There's nowhere else I'd rather live. My husband has started coughing again. He's a mesothelioma survivor, 30 years healthy. Many of you know him. He's coughing again. My sinuses are inflamed. My dear friend and business partner, Dr. Jane Eli, had to leave the island. She lived in Waimea Valley. She's part of the lawsuit. She was very sick with bronchial problems, skin problems. She lived on Menehune Road, Menehune Place. Her dog was sick all the time. She moved to the mainland, got better immediately. She came back in October to visit and teach for a month. 1 week after staying with us, same symptoms in Keikaha. There are fields just Mauka from my neighborhood, right behind Nihau School, right behind Keikaha School, right now, cornfields. Waimea isn't the only ground zero. And my husband and I, we don't want to leave the West Side, but we have to look at that possibility if things don't change very quickly. It's not worth it to get sick. It's worth it to stand up and fight. And I appreciate every one of you, and I really, really pray that you override this veto for the people of Kauai, especially the West Side. However, they're in Lihue now, and they're heading that way. Mahalo.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
The next speaker is Bryce Boder, followed by Josh Maury.
Hi, for the record, I'm Bryce Scott, Topena Malama Boder. Thank you for this opportunity, and I know you guys have been listening to thousands of hours, and this must be exhausting, so I'm going to try not to repeat something that somebody else has already said. I'm born and raised on Kauai, on the west side, Keikaha. I've been living there all my life, other than college, and I currently reside in Waimea on Menehune Road. And I'm going to tell you, like, what I've been seeing on the west side since I've been there all my life. What I've been seeing is a desertification of the west side due to petrochemical monocropping, which is really changing how the west side is. I've seen what little trees that are left in Mana being bulldozed on a weekly basis to clear more fields for GMO crops. I've seen the Waimea River dried up because they're diverting millions of gallons of water a day and dumping it on the side of the cliff. I've personally seen this stuff. I've noticed a massive expansion of these fields further south and east. At my old house, and I used to live right by the Waimea Bridge across the street from Pioneer Research. Every day about 5 o'clock, you look toward these trees that are right on the river, and you see egrets flying through you used to see egrets squawking, flying through all the air, thousands. The sky used to be white. Now there's nothing. They're all dead. My house used to be covered in red dust every day. In the morning, you clean it. You come home from work, your hand is red again from all the dust. I've developed sinus. I'm a very healthy person. Anybody who knows me, I'm very healthy, and I've developed sinus issues ever since moving to Waimea. It was so bad that there's a tumor that grew in my maxillary sinus, and none of the doctors can find out what it is. And I had to go to a specialist in Oahu, and she said it's environmental, something that's been in the air. So, I mean, to me, this bill is kind of like, it's just about respecting us, you know. It's kind of common sense. We got to know what is going on with our communities. It's real, you know. And I have friends in these seed companies that I personally talk to, my good friends. I grew up with them, and they tell me that the way the bill is written now, their own companies told them. Syngenta told them that they're not going to lose their jobs. So I don't know what this is about. I think what this is about is they don't want other communities to be empowered like how we're being empowered. But that's wrong, you know. This is our right. So please vote to override the mayor's veto and pass 2491. Thank you.
We have two questions for you. First, Councilwoman Yukimura. I'm going to ask you if I can recognize Ross first. Mr. Kagawa, you have the floor.
Mahalo, Bryce. Are you on the class action lawsuit?
I'm not on that one, no.
Is the family, do you have family that are on it?
Depends on what you consider family. Cousins on
because,
it? Yeah.
Because,
not immediate, though.
I was just, I have had numerous conversations with Clayton Kubota, originator of the class action lawsuit list. And, he told me that they are getting disclosure now as far as what they're spraying, when they're spraying. I think all the people on the class action lawsuit are getting that now. So, if you could maybe tie that in to with your physician and try and see if, there's any particular one that might be, and that's where I think we need to head, is to find out what is really creating, which health problems out there,
Yeah, and that's why we need this information. And I don't honestly trust what they're giving the guys on the lawsuit, too.
I think, as far as, I talked to Clayton, he seems to think that they're getting whatever they're using, the full disclosure. Just the people on the lawsuit, not Syngenta, not, people in Kekaha, but just the people on the lawsuit, he's saying, are getting this information. I see some people shaking their head. But I guess the thing is, what he's concerned is that are the seed companies following, the rules of the label and what have you? Because, he says that he's seen them spraying on windy days and
I've seen them too. I used to work.
So, I think that's the discrepancy. But the disclosure for the residents, that can get it from the people on the lawsuit is there, I believe, for the Waimea Menhuni Road, residents. Thank you.
Councilwoman Yukimura, you have the floor.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Others have talked about the egrets, and I just wondered, have you seen the dead egrets, or is it just that they're not anymore, roosting on the trees, and you're assuming that they've died, which I think is a logical assumption.
Yeah, they're literally right next to the field.
But do you see dead bodies?
I just wondered. The trees are along the river, so I haven't seen it, no. But I just one day noticed, like, wow, where did all the egrets go? Like, whoa.
Yeah.
It just made me really think.
Right. I get it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Josh Maury, followed by Megan Palama.
Okay. As Josh comes up, I want to announce one more time, I'm asking people who plan to testify today, because we have a single agenda item, to please sign up with my staff.
Good morning. My name is Josh Maury, but I am here to read the testimony of a good brother who couldn't make it because he's at work today. So these are his words. Mahalo County members for listening to the cries of the people of Kauai and passing Bill 2491. My name is Ku'i Palama. My genealogy originates from the valley of Hanapepe, Kalaheo, Wahiawa, and Waimea. For hundreds of generations, my ohana has relied on this land's natural resources for sustenance as fishermen, hunters, and kalo farmers. I humbly share this mana'o on behalf of those that came before me and those that are to come. I'd like to recite the first law of Hawaii. Mamala hoi kanawai. E naka naka, e na malama o kou, I ke akua, a e malama hoi, ke kanaka nui, a me kanaka ike, e hele ka ele makule, ka lohine, a me ke kama, a moe I ke ala o ohe mea nana e ho'opilikia. Heva no make. Law of the splintered paddle. O people, honor thy God. Respect alike the rights of people great and humble. May everyone, from the old men and women to the children, be free to go forth, to lay in the road without fear of harm. Break this law and die. Hawaii State Constitution, Public Safety, Article 9, Section 10. The law of the splintered paddle, Mamala hoi kanawai, decreed by Kamehameha I. Let every elderly person, woman, and child lie by the roadside in safety, shall be a unique and living symbol of the state's concern for public safety. The state shall have the power to provide for the safety of the people from crimes against persons and property. Right now, we cannot even lay in our own homes without fear of harm. The state of Hawaii has not upheld their constitution to provide for the safety of the people. It is our kuleana to take action to prevent that harm. Council, onipa'a, be firm in your decision on passing the bill 2491, and please override the mayor's veto. Mahalo.
Josh, we have questions for you.
No, I just want to ask if you would share the written testimony with us.
Aye.
The written testimony on the rules of Mamolokama are well documented in parts of the state constitution, but we'd certainly like the rules of the splintered paddle.
Chair, the next speaker is Megan Palama, followed by Samuel Shaw.
Aloha Council members. My name is Megan Palama, and I am a resident of Kalaheo. I'd like to start by saying mahalo to all of you for all of the time that you put into this. I also do want to start before my testimony and tell you about what I just heard from Uncle John Aana, that what is being disclosed is when they are spraying, but not what they are spraying. He's also said that he has seen many dead doves in the Waimea area. So I'm here today representing my ohana, my husband, Keola Palama, and our keiki, my sister, Tara Palama, who is also a teacher in the Waimea and Kekaha area, Kui Palama and Chanel Santos, who are residents of Waimea Valley, and Desiree and Koila Palama, who are also residents of Kalaheo. We depend heavily on the west side land, as my ohana are hunters, fishermen, and kalo farmers, as well as salt makers. We are very concerned about the future of the land that our keiki will inherit. The continued high-volume use of restricted-use pesticides on our soil will have a devastating impact on our land, and this could adversely affect the future of our keiki and their ability and their right to provide for our ohana. I feel that the testimony, support, and letters provided by our island's physicians and nurses speaks volumes. My children and I suffer from chronic allergies. My son has asthma and ADHD. My daughter, who's 4 years old, has a number of undiagnosed congenital medical issues. We have spent so much of our time traveling from Oahu to California to seek out assistance from specialists, and still we have no answers. We do not know what has caused these issues, but I feel that this bill will start us on the right path to know what is going on. To hear that very well-respected and dedicated doctors in Waimea are concerned about the increasing cases of congenital heart defects is alarming, 10 times the national average. This cannot be ignored any longer. We need to make sure that our island's doctors have the tools they need to do their jobs and properly diagnose the many medical ailments that they currently are not able to, simply because they do not know what their patients are being exposed to. Something must be done now. Our keiki deserve better than this, and we will not be suffocated by greed and deceit. We will not go away. We will fight. Our keiki deserve this and the future of our land. As a mother, I urge you to do what is right for the people of Kauai, for our keiki and our kupuna. Override this veto, and please pass this bill. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Question from Yukimura?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You say you live in Kalaheo?
Yes.
And so are you close to fields that are being sprayed?
I live at Kekelamakai, which is an Ocean View subdivision right bordering the coffee fields, Kauai coffee. But my family, we have kalo farms in Hanapepe.
Yes.
Our family hunts in Waimea
Yeah,
Valley.
no,
We
your
spend
point's-
tons of time out there.
I understand that. I just was concerned about your particular family's undiagnosed health issues, and I just wondered how close you were living to fields.
Yeah, we, while I was pregnant with my daughter, we actually do spend a ton of time in the Kauai coffee fields as we go down to the beaches that are down there in that area. We also spend a lot of time in Hanapepe Valley. We spend a lot of time in Waimea Valley.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Mahalo.
Thank you. Next speaker?
The next speaker is Samuel Shaw, followed by Oriana Kalama.
Okay, a little housekeeping correction here. The law that was referenced, Mamalahoa, is the mountain next to Namolokama. So,
Hi, good morning, Council. My name is Samuel Morgan Shaw. I live and own a business in Hanapepe called Culture Tattoo. I've been there for the last 3 years, and I've tattooed on the island for the past 20 years. My industry is regulated and licensed by the Health Department. The laws are voted on and designed to protect the community at large. Every year I pay out of pocket for license fees, medical physicals, and blood work. When my industry changes its laws, I always have to adapt with them. I'm inspected yearly by the health department, and I must disclose everything I do to ensure that all equipment is sterilized, and the methods that I use for tattooing ensure safety for the community. As public safety is the main concern in my industry, there are protocols I must follow. I cannot just voluntarily state that my equipment is up to date and sterile. That's not efficient enough. I'm demanded and required by law to show that they are sterilized. I cannot just give my word. This is illegal and unethical if I do so. It is called disclosure. I wonder why big ag companies cannot disclose what they are spraying. It has been stated by them that it is because of industry and competitiveness. I do not think that trade secrets are more important than the health of our community. Even though the laws on chemical use are mandated at state and federal levels, there's never, to my knowledge, been a study that puts these laws in the presence of a unique environment in our community. All the laws have been studied as far as chemical use are based on mainland laws, mainland environment. I have to ask, what kind of country are we living in when we are denied the right to know? I hope that the council and those in favor of a veto reconsider this and put the community first. We as a community have the opportunity to set a precedent in the way we look out for our community and our environment. I believe 2491 is a positive step, and I ask you to please override. Thank you.
thank you very much.
The next speaker is Oriana Kalama, followed by Tyler Jeffries.
Oriana, give me a moment for a housekeeping item. We are 15 minutes from 10:30 for sign-up. Please reconfirm that with the staff downstairs. Thank you for giving me that moment. You have the floor.
Good morning, Council.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My testimony is in behalf of Bill 2491. We are asking the council members to override Mayor Carvalho's veto. My name is Oriana Kalama. I've been a Maui resident since 1991. I have 2 children of Hawaiian descent who I adore, and I'm also the president and founder of a Maui grassroots nonprofit organization. We are Ocean Defender Foundation. Today I would like to speak on behalf of myself, our team, and our supporters. We have 16 chapters worldwide. We reach about 900,000 viewers every day. We have 190,000 subscribers. From these subscribers, less than 5% are from Hawaii. The rest are from all over the world. And let me tell you, their dream is to come to Hawaii. They want to come here to swim in our ocean, look at our sacred mountains, eat our exotic fruits, and smell our flowers. But right now, they are scared. They're scared of coming here because they know that we have become the GMO capital of the world. We are ground zero, and the world knows it. So our organization does not feel comfortable encouraging our supporters to visit or swim in several areas of our coastline statewide, especially here in Kauai. We feel that the presence of the biotech companies established on our islands are threatening the #1 source of income for our state. Our tourism industry is at risk. To add to our misfortune, Hawaii is considered the endangered species capital of the world. This is a fact. 25% of the endangered species that are on the list come from Hawaii. So I've been coming here since May of this year to team up with marine biologist Terry Lilly and helping document and spread awareness on the fastest growing reef epidemic on Earth. Kauai owns the fastest growing reef epidemic on Earth. And we would like to know what is causing this. So the disease was discovered by Professor Greta Abbey in the waters of Kaneohe. It was declared an epidemic by Theory Works, who works for the USGS, National Wildlife Health Center. The disease was found 2 years ago here by Terry Lilly, who has been recording and documenting the disease. This disease grows at a rate of 4 inches a week. So entire 400-year-old coral colonies are dead within a month. The mysterious disease is caused by a cyanobacterial infection, and the causes are still unknown. So just so you know, cyanobacterial is the oldest bacteria on this planet, 3.5 million years old. So an unusual large amount of sediment is present on the 2 affected areas, and this is known to adversely affect corals in other areas. However, what role the sediment on other land-based pollutions has in driving this disease remains unclear.
3 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
You can summarize.
Well, the reef epidemic is devastating the reef, right? We don't know what's causing it. But there is something present in the ocean waters of Kauai that is altering the behavior of one of the oldest bacteria on Earth. So we have taken sediment samples of infected reefs and the areas here, which have been sent to Test America to be analyzed. So each of these tests costs $2,900. So metals and chemicals are important for us to know so we can fix this problem. So it's critical.
I have to share with you.
So
please summarize.
Well, this is it. We're poisoning our people. We're poisoning our land. Our oceans are dying, and the biotech industry are killing our #1 source of income in Hawaii. We have to do something about it. And one more thing, I know you guys are busy. I've testified on Maui on behalf of the Nishiki bill to protect the aquarium fish. And I noticed that, folks, you guys are so busy taking care of our islands that maybe you don't have time to go to the ocean. But I urge you, please, grab a mask and snorkel. Go to Hanalei. Take your keikis and look at the reef. It's dying.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. And I want a copy of your testimony, please.
Sure can.
And may I send your testimony to the state
Please.
DLNR with a cover letter? 'Cause-
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will do that.
All right.
The next speaker is Tyler Jeffries, followed by Tiana Larano.
Good morning, council members. I want to let you know that I'm here for odd reasons. I was approached yesterday by a friend and asked if I wanted to make some quick money.
You need to state your name for the
Oh,
record.
sorry. My name is Tyler Jeffries. I was born and raised on Kauai. I'm 28 years old, lived here my whole life. Here for odd enough reasons. I was approached by a friend yesterday, asked if I wanted to make some money. I'm kind of down on my luck right now, looking for work, and I said, sure. And he said it was just come down to the county building and hold a spot in line. And I said, sure. I came down here, didn't realize who and what was going on and what the bills were and, you know, the political side of it. And once I kind of figured out what was going on, my moral compass changed, because I haven't been to any one of these meetings or any one of these sessions, but I've known what's going on. And me being a born and raised resident of Kauai, I know where my heart stands. And I watched my dad die of cancer at 45 years old. I was 10 years old. And, you know, it could be for the same reasons these pesticides today are killing people. You know, I think disclosure should be used. It's so easy to label a thing and say what's in it, you know? And so on that note, I didn't get paid from these people, because I turned around and moved back to my side of the people, my family, who is the people who support this bill. And so I'm here on my own behalf now. And that's it. Thank you very much.
These are my chambers, and I'm sharing with you our rules. You may raise your hand silently and shake, but please, please, we have a lot to cover over the next couple of days, and I would like to keep the decor in this room. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Tiana Larano, followed by Donovan Kanani Kabibi.
Aloha Council. For the record, my name is Tiana Kaleokalani Larano. For the record, my name is Tiana Kaleokalani Larano. I'm born and raised here on Kauai, grew up in Anahola, Hawaiian homelands. I'm a graduate of the University of Hawaii at Hilo in health and physical education, and has been active in sports and community in my life here on Kauai, as well as my family. Very pro-health. I love life. I appreciate the ability for everyone to be able to thrive and be healthy and to live in this world and be blessed to be stewards of this land the way we should. I don't come to you prepared. I don't come to you as an expert on any little certain field, but I do feel and I do listen to my na'au, and I do come from a line that's rooted here in the land that we all have connection to. We're all connected to the land. We're all here together. I want to address our food, our air, our land, and our water. Bottom line, it comes down to food security for me, for our island. We are in the middle of the Pacific. Shall anything happen to us? We have 90+% of our food shipped into the islands. That's no way to be sustainable and feed our community. Food is important. Soil is important, and you don't have to be an expert to understand that if the soil doesn't have any nutrients, the plants that grow from it won't have any nutrients, and then the food we eat won't have any nutrients. So health. I know a lot of people are dealing with health, my own personal health, and that's what's really jump-started me into this movement, was my own personal health and dealing with growing up in this society full of chemicals. And I am third generation as well, family from plantation, Filipino and Chinese descendant. So I am dealing with my own repercussions of the food I grew up eating and the chemicals that we've been exposed to as well as my grandparents. So I'm here to petition other alternatives and solutions. You're hearing the cries of our community. My heart goes out to the families who are dealing with disease. We all are. We all have family members that are dealing with disease. So it's addressing the issues of how do we take care of ourselves? How do we even take care of our own bodies? We don't even know that question. And where do we get those nutrients from? So if we are being compromised by the tons of pesticides that are being sprayed in our environment, how are we going to be able to grow healthy food, breathe air? That's all the same things we have common thread in, is clean air, clean food, clean water. That's what our necessities is to survive, to thrive on this land. And if those things are being compromised by no control of us, we're just the neighbors, and we have no control in stopping what's being sprayed in our air, what we're breathing in, what we're drinking in our waters unknowingly. It's It's upsetting. And it feels really helpless when you have all these cries for help and we don't know who to turn to, who to trust. And this is coming out from our beings, you know, it's life, it's the next generations. It's my ability
3
to
minutes.
be able to even have that chance. And I'm worried about that because of my own health issues. So future generations, you know, that's really the 7th generation. But it's all about our actions in the now. So I just petition to you all to listen and look within. The answers are there. There's an overwhelming evidence and you feel that. So just look into yourselves and listen
you.
to your hearts. Mahalo.
The next speaker is Donovan Kanani Kabibi.
Okay, before we go any further, the last 3 speakers did not express to me that I clearly understood, and I would like to remind all of you, the issue at the table today, I'd like to hear from you, is do you support the override of the mayor's veto or sustain the mayor's veto? That's the agenda item. As long as I can hear from you when you wrap up where you're at, and that's the issue in front of us today. Sir, you have the floor.
My name is Donovan Kanani Kabibi. I can trace my lineage to the very first canoes that landed on these shores from Tahiti, as well as to the inhabitants that the Tahitians discovered when they landed, which brought us the term Manahuni. I am Kanaka Maole, a Hawaiian national, and we should know the facts of Hawaii's political status, illegally occupied by the U.S., the state, and the county entities. The Hawaiian nation still exists in continuity. Its sovereignty has never been relinquished. That being said, it should also be known that you, including the county attorney, could be held personally responsible as war criminals for the choices that you make, should those choices bring harm to the Kanaka Maole people, the Hawaiian national lands, and or contribute to the apartheid situation which exists in Hawaii regarding the Hawaiian people, who should be in these seats that you now sit in. It is through this illegal occupation that you now hold these seats. The seats you sit in are intended to be the seats that represent the will of the people, as it would be if the Hawaiians sat there. This community have chosen you to represent them as this community, and this community has spoken. I'm here to speak on behalf of the host culture and the nationals of the illegally occupied nation of Hawaii. We do not give our permission for these lands to be used for bio-research and development of any other or for any other reason that does not benefit the Hawaiian nation, its people, or the world. The state of Hawaii has always been here with the interest to control money, assets, and resources. The governor has shown that he supports big money interests in Hawaii, and it appears that our mayor has sided with the governor. The divide we see in this community was created by the biotech companies and not by the bill, because the people are awake and aware. The people want to know how this island is being used. The people want to know that you do represent them. The people want pono. The people want a pure, pristine Hawaii for the generations to come. I not only urge you to override the veto, I urge you to do it unanimously. I'm disappointed that Nadine is not present here. Mahalo nui loa. Aloha.
Thank you, Mr. Kabibi. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Ruby Stagers, followed by Hoku Kabibi.
Hi, my name is Ruby Staggers. I'm in support of overriding the veto. And I have a testimony on behalf of a Kekaha resident. And here's what she wrote. Aloha, I am a Kekaha resident. I have a 4-year-old daughter and a 9-month-old son. As I type this email, I can see a field of GMO crops out of my window. The drift of the tons of restricted use pesticides that are sprayed on the fields that surround us has me terrified for my family's health. I also worried about what it is, the water we're drinking. What kind of illnesses could breathing in these pesticides and drinking this water cause? It's a scary thought. My daughter attends Kamehameha Preschool in Kauai, which is also surrounded by GMO fields. Are those fields being sprayed with restricted use pesticides while her friends and teachers are out on the playground? What is it that they're spraying on those fields? We have the right to know. What the biotech companies are doing is not pono. To have such blatant disregard for the lives and health of our Kauai residents, especially our keiki, is so disheartening. My family and I love this island and ask that you pass Bill 2491 to help protect the land, the water we are so dependent on, and the people who live here. Mahalo.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Hoku Kabibi, followed by Nomi Carmona.
Aloha kako, mahalo, o wau o hoku, mai wainiha mai au. I am here on behalf of about 50 West Side fishermen. In the last 36 hours, we went to the West Side and we gathered those signatures.
I'm sorry, Hoku, did you introduce yourself by your Hawaiian language terminology?
Yes.
I heard you saying you were from
Yes.
Wainiha, but
Correct,
in
yes.
Hawaiian, but I didn't hear your name.
O
Could
wau
you
o
record-
hoku, I am hoku, yes.
Thank you.
Mahalo. So we collected, again, 15 signatures from the West Side, and this is fishermen, and I'd like to read a letter on behalf of the fishermen from the West Side. And I'm also very honored to do so. Aloha Council members, we are fishermen and gatherers on the West Side that depend on the limu, crab, lobster, vana, opihi, and fish such as moi, kala, halalu, ama-ama, and o'io to feed our families and supplement our livelihoods. Our shoreline and reefs are our refrigerators. They have been feeding our families since our ancestors first set foot on Kauai. Some of us also catch o'opu in the Waimea estuaries, where the baby o'opu are born and where there's runoff from nearby agricultural lands. According to the labels on the restricted use pesticides, most are dangerous to fish and wildlife, and they are restricted from being used near waterways. These labels do not address the effects of these chemicals or combinations of these chemicals on our local island reefs, vana, crabs, lobsters, o'opu, and our shoreline fish. Every day, water that is potentially contaminated with pesticides enters the ocean at various West Side ditches like Kinikini and Nohili and the Waimea River. We need to know whether pesticide runoff is affecting the fish and reef populations that sustain us, and we would like to know immediately. Knowing what chemicals are being used, when they are used, and how much is being used on agricultural lands is important to us. We need to know whether the waters can sustain continued fishing and gathering now and for future generations. That is why immediate disclosure of chemicals used on West Side agricultural lands is important to fishermen. We are proud of your vote and urge you to stand by this approval for the health and safety of our children, wives, and families. Fishing has been a way of life for us, some of us for generations. Please protect the West Side fishing ways by staying strong on your vote 6-1. Mahalo. The 50 signatures have been sent directly to the council today. Mahalo nui loa.
Thank you, Hoku.
The next speaker is Nomi Carmona, followed by Mimsy Beret.
Aloha, Kauai County Council. My name is Nomi Carmona. I'm the president of statewide political nonprofit Babes Against Biotech. Thanks for having me back. This is a home rule issue, and presenting for 13,000 members, it's down to you. That's why the industry, the biotech chemical industry, which should be called chemiculture, not agriculture, and has-tech, not biotech. They're engineering hazards to a very critical system that's already got a lot of endangered species. They're an invasive species. So it's very silly that we make such a fit about apples coming in from the mainland at the airport, and we're allowing these guys to do 5,000 open-air experiments statewide, genetic experiments. So you look at other places that have open-air testing, they have maybe 5, 10, 25 open-air tests. Hawaii has 5,000. It's an indication of a problem. And you look at something like SB 727, which passed the Senate and went into the House, and the industry was lobbying to strike the county's right to protect its citizens' life and health, because they wanted to prevent this, because they know this is where the power lies, at the county level. And we testified against it. We killed it in the House, thank goodness, so we couldn't even have this conversation. Why? Because there's $212,000 of GMO campaign funding at the state Senate, $198,969 at the House. Okay, so we need to override this veto. We must. I made a mistake saying I will protect them. We must protect them. Today, now. And we look at this, okay, pesticide, the Latin root of side is death. And I've told you this before. Pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, insecticide. Okay, so what we're begging for right now, as this bill has been watered down, just like HB 673, which does not provide disclosure of anything new, does not provide buffer zones, does not provide impact studies, we are begging to tell us about the death spray. That's what pesticide means. Side anything. We're begging to limit the side. We're begging for buffer zones for the side, which means death. It's from Latin cadere. So let's get what these people are doing. And apicide, they're killing the bees with the sprays. So we have many, many, many reasons, because we need them to pollinate crops. We're the lead queen bee exporter worldwide. There are many, many reasons to do this. 149A does not provide the protections that we need. And while we could certainly work together in the future, we need the help now. The state is a long and arduous process, and it's not going to go anywhere. So I urge you to please override this veto for your people. I mean, come on. The industry is applauding the mayor's veto, and they're applauding the voluntary regulations being put out by the Hawaii Department of Agriculture, run by Russell Kokobun, who's taken $4,400 since 2007 alone as a former elected official. And you're going to tell me that with all these things going on, GMO ground zero worldwide in Hawaii, that you expect the state to take care of us? I do not. I know better. I know it's up to you, and I'm counting on you, and I trust you, and we need to clean house so we can do things at the state. In the meantime, we don't have statewide initiatives. We don't have the right to recall and impeach our state Senate or our representatives. So things have run amok. Please override the veto. Mahalo. Aloha. Love you guys. Thank you for all you do. You're way better than the state any day. I'll take you.
The next speaker is Mimsy Beret, followed by Harvest Edmonds.
Hi, Council. Mimsy Beret. Don't you love her? I'm really in awe of all the young people here and their initiative and passion to protect what they love and the lands that they were born into. I was asked to read a very brief letter from a woman who lives in Keikaha. And she says, I work from my home in Keikaha, and one day I thought I smelled a gas leak. I went to my kitchen and nothing was on. The smell was so strong I started to worry that I would pass out, so I went outside. To my surprise, the smell was worse outside. My first thought was to hold my breath, but then I realized that would be a very short solution. So I got into my car and I shut the door. After a few calls to friends, family, and police, I was told that the police were looking into it. Within the hour, we heard both Keikaha School and St. Teresa School were reporting the same things. Why are we living like this? I'm a businesswoman, and I understand the cost effects of more legislation. But when you weigh the option for citizens to have a choice to know and just leave the area during spraying versus the panic and possible ill health effects of our community, it's a no-brainer. I have read the bill completely, and I feel it's an excellent start to keep our families safe on the west side. Nowhere in the bill is it trying to close down businesses. It just requires them to provide information for us to make decisions on our health and for our families. I don't understand why the big companies are so concerned about being transparent and allowing us to know what is being sprayed and released into our local environment. So thank you for letting me read that on behalf of a Kekaha resident. And thank you all for having the strength and fearlessness and vision to pass the law last month. And I totally believe that we will see here today a unity in our county council, that all of you who voted in the past for the bill will continue to overturn this veto and hold on to 2491, even improve it if possible. And I too hope that this is unanimous, because you as a group need to be unanimous to make this happen. Thank you so much for your consideration. Aloha.
Thank you, Mimsy.
The next speaker is Harvest Edmonds, followed by Louisa Wooten.
Aloha, my name is Harvest Edmonds. Aloha, council members and council chair. Thank you for letting me speak today. I have been asked to read a letter that was sent to the mayor after his veto, and this was sent by a doctor from KVMH on the west side, and this is his letter. Many doctors of the West Side, including obstetricians and pediatricians, met with several council members during the course of deliberation over Bill 2491. We shared our experiences and concerns with them over rates of diseases, noticeable aberrations in certain birth defects, incidences, and helped them to understand the absolute need for disclosure and our ability to deliver better patient care. The people's voice and the medical community's voice must count when the county engages in lawmaking. To veto a bill that has been vetted by professionals and our island would be to ignore the democratic and council research process that has taken place thus far. The people and medical professionals of the West Side asked for help. The council has given it in the form of Bill 2491. And now I ask that you do the humanitarian and upright act of honoring this process and sign the bill into law. As a doctor, a father, a husband, and a West Side community member who lives near the agricultural fields and whose spouse and daughters also have health issues that may be affected by the application of pesticides near our home, I urge you to sign this frankly very mild disclosure bill into law. And I also, as Harvest Edmonds, also ask you to please unanimously sign this or override this veto. Thank you.
Harvest, we have a question for you. Councilwoman Yukimura.
May I ask who the doctor is who wrote that letter?
It is Rick Godding.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Louisa Wooten, followed by Leona Thompson.
Hello, my name is Louisa Wooten, and I'm here because it's O-Day for me. I'm an optimist, and I think that we're going to have a 6-0 vote today, and we're going to put it in overdrive, and we're going to override this veto. And by the way, you can make mine organic. Thank you.
The next speaker is Leona Thompson, followed by Aria Castillo.
Okay, before Leona speaks, I've asked them to collect the sign-up list. That was the last call downstairs, and at 11 o'clock we will be taking a break. Thank you. You have the floor now.
Hi, my name is Leona Thompson. I'm a Kauai resident.
Sorry, I'm a Kalaheo resident. My name is Leona. I just come to urge you folks to please override the veto. We've all sat through hours of this testimony. I mean, you've all practically slept with us on the sleep, some of you council members, so I know that. We've already been through this. It was already 6-1 already. No, I understand if you don't vote, but everybody else, vote the same way. Let's get this passed. Let's please move forward, and yeah, let's get this done. I appreciate your time and all of your effort with this. I know it's been hard for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Aria Castillo, followed by Margie Maupin.
Good morning. My name is Aria Castillo. I'm a resident of Kalaheo. I wanted to share some words that my friend submitted. She lives in Waimea. I was born at KVMH. I was raised in Waimea Valley and still live there to this present day. My family and I have been raising taro in the Makaweli Valley for generations. The traditions have been passed down from my great-grandfather to my father and mother to my siblings and I, and down to our children and so forth. I have seen development which surrounds our taro fields change over time, in which our taro fields has also changed. Our family didn't change our growing process and still bear witness to the side effects in which the chemicals and the pesticides and herbicides do to our taro fields. I do not need a doctor to tell me that pesticides the chemical companies are using are bad for our health. It's very apparent. The Makaweli Valley is surrounded by corn companies, which we all know as chemical companies. I have observed the change in not only the water, the field, the taro, and the variety of plants that surround our fields. My family not only farms taro, but we also have salt beds in Hanapepe Town. My concern is, what about the runoff of the water that is containing pesticides? The water goes into our ocean and then back into our salt beds, which most of the Hawaiian people get their salt from. My family and I don't go to the store to buy salt. We haven't bought salt for generations. Are we unknowingly poisoning ourselves? Or is this the residue which the pesticides leave behind still in the salt? We need answers of what exactly to test for. I humbly ask for this bill to pass. Please override the veto. If there is exposure and transparency as to what is being sprayed on a day-to-day, more people will be banned against the pesticides being used, not only in the island, but statewide and also nationwide. Thank you.
Ms. Yutamura?
Aria, thank you very much. May I ask who your friend is, or?
Can I submit it to you?
Yes, that'll be fine. Do you know how the taro fields have been affected?
I don't personally know.
Okay. Thank you.
Next speaker.
The next speaker is Margie Maupin, followed by Robert Hoff.
Hello, my name is Margie Maupin from Kalaheo. I want to thank you for the time you have taken to listen to my grave concerns about the health of the West Side people. I have talked with each of you about these concerns, and although Ms. Nakamura is not a council member any longer, I want to thank her and you, Councilman Raposo, for speaking with us West Side healthcare providers in Waimea recently. On the day we met on the West Side, the doctors, nurses, and other healthcare providers shared their very troubling observations. More babies born with missing ear canals, malformed ears, recurring nosebleeds, cleft palates, asthma, allergies, rashes, hormonal imbalances, more frequent miscarriages. One of the doctors who brought us each a stack of about 200 pages of studies showing the serious dangers of pesticides expressed concerns about how to answer his pregnant patients who ask if the pesticides will harm their baby. Most appalling from a West Side pediatrician and obstetrician was the report of serious heartbeat or birth defects, 10 times the national average. Some of these are incompatible with life. In other words, the heart defects are responsible for the baby's death. With that said, I have another related concern to share if the veto is not overridden. I am very unsettled about my duty, of providing primary health care to my patients and their families on the West Side. Thousands of reputable studies have already been done that show pesticides are known hazardous toxins. The probability that these pesticides will hurt a lot of people on the west side, I believe, is high. I implore you to override the mayor's veto because some healthcare providers are already seeing signs of serious illness and disability now, and we are at a loss for how best to protect our patients from this onslaught of known dangerous exposure. I have been very active in my efforts to pass the Common Sense Bill 2491. It is a start to protect my patients and their families. I can tell you something without any doubt. To this day, the mayor has not made any attempt to dialogue with me about the West Side residents and their health. To my knowledge, the healthcare providers I am in contact with have also not been approached by the mayor to talk about these concerns. Additionally, I have called or emailed numerous governmental and non-governmental agencies, including but not exclusive to Mr. Gill at the Department of Health, who never returned my correspondence, Department of Agriculture, March of Dimes, National Institute of Health, Hawaii Cancer Institute, the CDC, OSHA, and multiple others, and the same message has been offered over and over. We're sorry, no recent data, and there are reporting flaws. When I called these agencies, I was grasping for assistance to understand pesticide exposure, receive training, education, prevention, find protocols to respond to chronic pesticide poisoning, or any information at all that would help me best care for my patients.
I have to tell you that 3 minutes went up, but you can summarize, please.
Okay. Don't depend on data that is not up to date and is poorly collected. Look at the recommendations from the American Association of Pediatricians. Listen to the sick people. Listen to the healthcare providers. This is not the typical mix of sick people seen here and there. This is a dire situation. You, the county council members, are at a crossroad in history. Will you do your best to protect the residents of Kauai?
Thank you. Mr. Hoosier has a question for you. Mr. Hoosier, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for all your work on this issue. I know you've put a lot of your life into this, and I appreciate it. And I understand that you're closely connected with the medical community on the West Side. In today's newspaper, the Department of Agriculture and the governor issued a press release saying that they'd consulted with the chemical companies and come up with some voluntary guidelines. Are you aware if any of those, the Department of Agriculture or the governor has consulted with the medical community on the West Side or KVMH or yourself recently?
None of the doctors that I practice with have been contacted. I'm not sure about KVMH in general. I work for the community health clinic that's housed within KVMH. But I have reached out to the Department of Agriculture myself and have not gotten responses, or I've been referred to other people who have not called me back.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilwoman Yuki Murray, you have the floor.
Margie, I want to thank you, too, for all your work on this. In the data that the doctors gathered about the birth defects and so forth, did they do a screening in terms of tobacco use of the mothers or the families?
I can't say if they did or not. Okay. It was mostly the senior obstetrician at KVMH and the senior pediatrician there, and I'm not sure what details they gathered other than the birth defects themselves.
Yeah. Maybe if we can move this EFIS or this environmental public health study forward, we can do those kinds of things and really look closely at that data, because it is disturbing.
Yes, it is disturbing.
I mean, it's clearly a signal that we should do a study of some sort. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
The next speaker is Robert Pa, followed by Fern Rosensteel.
Mr. Pa? I saw him here earlier. Okay, let's go to the next speaker and come back.
The next speaker is Fern Rosensteel.
For the record, my name is Fern Anuinui Rosensteel. I testify today on behalf of myself and as a director of Ohana o Kauai. Chair, County Council members, thank you again. Rarely in my life am I inspired to sing the Star Spangled Banner. I grew up in a nation where I was taught it was overthrown. I grew up with kupuna that taught me the wrongs that America has done. To the people and to the Aina here, I work alongside many people who actively work to restore the Hawaiian Kingdom and all that was taken from the people here. Last night as I slept and didn't sleep, the sovereign flag flew on this building above us. Each flag represents different things. In my heart last night, it represented the kingdom's presence and us as united, sovereign people with the ability to shape the future of our island. This morning as the dawn broke, after hours and hours in the bitter cold, I watched as the American flag was raised over this building, and I watched as I contemplated the night and what was before us today. And I was reminded, and I became inspired. I was reminded not of the atrocities and the shameful things that our nation has done to other nations and people, and not of the corruption and the corporate tyranny that we are so regularly reminded of, and this country is so oppressed by. But I was inspired by the people of this island, by what we have done, what we have accomplished together, and how we've learned and moved forward as a community. I felt appreciation and hope, and appreciation for the right to sit, to sleep, to assemble, and to demonstrate in this American system of judicial, legislative, and executive branches that form the democracy that was founded on the principles of people representation. It gave me hope that the essence of this founding concept can and is being revived right here in our small little community. Our island in the middle of the ocean has reminded itself and the world what this flag could represent today. And during the final vote, when you made the decision to pass Bill 2491 originally, while summarizing your thoughts and perspectives before voting, Councilmember Raposo made a powerful statement in support of the democratic process. He actually said that he said and supported his people and the fellow council members by saying that regardless of what the outcome was today, that the right decision would be made because the majority had made it. I appreciate that kind of respect for the people of power and for the people of representation. And I ask you today to uphold that majority decision. I ask you to override the mayor's veto and to give the people what they're really asking, which is the right to know, the right for basic buffers, and the right to investigate the impacts of an industry that has dominated Hawaii since this country was overthrown. So I humbly ask you to please, all of you, unanimously override this veto and give us, as a community, the hope and inspiration that we are building and driving upon right now. So thank you all again, and I humbly ask you override. Mahalo.
Thank you. Read out the next two names for me, and then we're going to be taking a break. So,
The next speaker would be Phoebe Ng, followed by Journey Zeifer.
Phoebe, they called your name, and the next one is?
Journey Zeifer.
Journey.
Aloha, good morning. Thank you so much, the council, once again, for all that you do. I know it's not easy to sit in these seats, but on a higher level, it is actually probably very easy. As Fern has just said, we're talking about the voice of the people. 6-1 vote last month, 53,000 letters across the world. Doctors, nurses, farmers, giving in you group letters as well as individual letters. Business leaders even, the tourist industry. This is not as hard as we think. I do need to make a correction in terms of one of the remarks that I heard this morning. The notifications that Pioneer gives to its plaintiffs are nowhere near anything except generic. What they usually say is that we are going to spray from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, as we want to. That's pretty much the extent of that kind of disclosure. So please do not believe that voluntary disclosure is happening on the West Side, especially with a lawsuit and even with the negotiations of really good attorneys. The other thing is that I want to call your attention to the fisherman's testimony. That was done in 36 hours among fishermen families that do not come out often to sign letters. 36 hours over the last few days. Taro farmers, the same. Kumuhula, the same. 50 teachers in 36 hours. They are coming out. And so, and first responders are coming out. Nearly 100 are contacting some of you. So I do hope that you override. We are even now hearing about ag workers themselves. They are coming out and speaking to some of us, saying that they and their spouses would like to come out in support, but they cannot. Why? Because they have to sign a document that says that if they do anything that is seen as disparaging to the company, they risk losing their pensions. But, these are big problems, right? And I want to put it in public testimony because I'd like you to investigate that. I'd like somebody to investigate that. It is also very, very concerning that people are paid hundreds of dollars to sit in the seats, in order to get priority seating in this room when all of us wait overnight out of the goodness of our hearts and for free. Money does not solve problems. On the West Side, there is a particular way of being. It is gracious, it is dignified, it is measured, and it is thoughtful. I want to read a few sentences from one testifier who personifies what that is.
Phoebe, I'm going to let you read that statement, but your 3 minutes is up, but read that statement.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. Normally, we are not the type of people to complain and prefer to mind our own business and let people live and let live. This is the first time we have even done something of this nature. However, we really need your help. Please pass the bill. This is indicative of the many names that I would have liked to have read to you. It would read like a soap opera, and for many of you who are into electoral politics, these names are Hawaiian royalty, Mahi'ai royalty, but if you'd like that, I would be glad to share that.
I would like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
The next speaker is...
No? Next and last speaker before we take a break.
Is Journey Zephyr?
Hello, I am Journey Mani Waji Zephyr. I am here to speak for the Keiki and the future of the 7th generation. The job of the Kauai County Council is to protect the people. Passing the bill again is the Pono and Aloha thing to do. In school, we learn about the Aloha Law. One of the principles of the Aloha is to give or sacrifice of yourself to help your neighbor. I have given myself 4 times now by sleeping on the cold, hard ground in the pouring rain. In the cold, lasting night, every time I get sick with a cold. But I come back here again and again to sacrifice myself for my neighbors on the West Side, because that is Aloha. The chemical corporations have no Aloha. Because a corporation is a dead thing, it's only on paper as a legal business selling chemical poisons. Because a corporation is only flat paper and word and deed. It is not alive. It has no life, no breath, no aloha. Since I have sacrificed myself to help my neighbors, I have been called a terrorist, a thug, an extremist, and a haole. If there ever was a haole, it was a chemical corporation that has no life, no ha, but only lives on paper to spray and sell chemical poisons. No life, no breath, no ha, no aloha. Ua mau ke o ka aina hikopono. Pass the bill.
Thank you, Journey. Did you have a question for Journey? Oh, okay. We're going, by contract, we need to take a caption break for our typist and camera crew, and that will be for 15 minutes instead of 10. I put the extra 5 minutes on there because you do need, if you leave the room, you do need to clear yourself to come back in. Mr. Hoosier, you have a question?
Yes, I understand the list for testifiers has been essentially closed, and I know some people are trying to plan their day. I was wondering if we had an idea of how many people were on the list.
I'm going to find that out on this break, and I'll be glad to make that announcement, and we'll go forward.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay. So everybody understands this break is going to be 15 minutes. We're back in session at 11:17.